So this video, I'm going to show you all of my completed pages from August and September. So I combined them. I didn't have very many in August, and I had a lot of them that I had started and not finished yet, that I finished in early September. So there really wasn't enough for a separate video for the end of August. I was also traveling a lot at the end of the summer there. So I have now all the completed pages from August and September. I've started some October pages, but I won't include those here, but just to get started. So you can see in the thumbnail that I have quite a few books here, but let's see. There's only nine books, but some of them have several pages. I try not to count, but you can't help it. You can't help but count. Everybody counts, but they're not all equal. So I'll just say that. Some of these take a long time. Okay, so this is my first fall page that I've done recently. And I do want to first show you the state that it was in the first time I thought it was finished. So one of the things that I think is hard to decide is when something is finished. And I think for the most part, it's when you feel like it's the best you can get it and you can't think of anything else that would make it better. So I initially thought it was done, and it was kind of bugging me, and I kept thinking about it, and there was a lot of space around the outside of this central moon shape and owl. There's a lot of empty space, and I had some yellow in the background, but it didn't go all the way to the sides. And then if it did go to the sides, I thought, well, that's too much yellow. But what if I darken it? Well, that's still a lot of space, and it's uneven space, so I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. I thought about masking off edges, creating a frame, filling it in that way. Almost did that. And then I was outside walking my dog, and I picked up a few leaves, and I have a pile of them over here that I picked up a bunch of them, and they're getting all crispy now. But I decided to make a border. So rather than finding or creating a stencil, I made my own. So like this one, where's this one go? Right here. See, that matches up right there. And then that one. Anyhow, you get the point. So I matched these up and stuck them all around the outside and traced them all. And then I colored them in with my Neocolor 2s and activated them with water and used all the same fall colors that I had used in these leaves. And then I decided I didn't want to go any further with it. I didn't want to add any more details or shadows than I already had. I didn't want them to stand out too much. They're really supposed to kind of look like you're just kind of looking through the leaves at this owl, like through a tree. And if I had put all the veins and shadows and layered them, they would just detract too much, I think, from the owl. I do like the colors here. I wouldn't normally think of putting a lime green and a fuchsia with lime, but I mean with fall colors, but I think it really helps the fall colors stand out. So that's my owl, and that was in Joanna Basford's Magical Worlds. And then I have a buddy color that I did with Shelly. Let's see here. So I'll put Shelly's picture up next to mine right here. And I really love this picture. I love Rita Berman's books. This is Hidden Seasons by Rita Berman. And I had not yet colored in this book. And so I was glad to get to this book. I haven't had it very long. Can't talk tonight. Had not had it very long, but I was really wanting to color things in this book. And there's some beautiful fall pages. So I did this one with Shelly. I really like how she did this nondescript area here. It was kind of empty and you kind of didn't know what to do with it. And I really like the way she handled that. And I like her like very soft tones that she picked. All the blues and purples. I think they look great. So that's that. Thank you, Shelly. I'm sure we'll be doing another one. Well, I'll tell you about that when I talk about plans. So then we have Walk in Nature, or Wild on Nature. I did this one and I based it with alcohol marker, which I haven't done very much of. You can see there the colors I started with that. I had not done very much of that really. And then I took pencils with me and did this kind of on the go, sitting at a baseball game in between innings and in between games and stuff like that. Kids baseball game. So I really like the fall palette. I like how this came out. I'm quite happy with it. I really, really, really like it. I even like the texture here. I think that's very nice. So that is Rayhan Eudates, or Rada Prince. And then I have Dark Fairy Tales. I have these. So I did have a video about using pastel on faces, and that was for this Sleeping Beauty. And I did have a video about drawing, coloring in all of the highlights and shadows on a black horse on this page. So I have been doing these pages in Dark Fairy Tales by Kirby Rosannes with a buddy named Shira. So Shira has colored these in with me. Both times we ended up doing a double page spread pretty much, and getting overwhelmed. They were a lot, but I will also put her pictures up here too. And I will do, okay, so let's do Sleeping Beauty first. Here's mine, and here's Shira's. And I love how hers always looks much darker, more sinister than mine does, and also like nighttime versus daytime. Scary versus friendly. We seem to do that every time. All right, now I'm going to switch to the horses. So I will put Shira's horse right here, and here's mine. Very similar, more similar than most of the things that we do. So I do really, really, really like this book, and we have had fun going back and forth talking about these pages and what materials we're using and coloring in so much of the like wood and branches and leaves and stuff. So this has been enjoyable. I'm getting a lot of pages done in this book thanks to Shira, and her pages are beautiful. All right, so I'm going to put all 4 up. So I'll put, you've seen my 2, so now I'm going to put Shira's 2 together so you can see them together and take a look. Thank you, Shira. And I think I had wanted to do the, where is it? Cinderella's Pumpkin. Yeah, right there. For October with Halloween and everything, but she has already done this pumpkin, so we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get to that or not, but it was going to be perfect for October, and she's ahead of me, so we'll see. Anyway, there's Dark Fairy Tales by Kirby Rosannes. And then, which way do I go? Mythographic Fantasy Forest. So I have, well, why don't I use my markers? Oh, I don't have any markers. One in here that I did earlier in September, and it took a while for me to finish. One, I just needed more contrast, and it took me a bit to figure that out. But also because I needed the black, I really, really, really wanted a black glaze pen to do this. I had started it with a regular black pen. It just wasn't what I was looking for. And I didn't have a clear glaze pen, so I really needed the black glaze pen. So I finally have it, finally have a few. Was able to finish this page, and I really like it. So this was one of those that just started one night with, I feel like coloring something in. So I started coloring in the tree and the water. And from there I decided, well, I guess I'll be doing this page. So anyhow, that's that. Mythographic Fantasy Forest by Fabiano Attanasio. And then we have Dreamweaver, Mythographic Dreamweaver by Alessandra Fusi. What happened to all of my markers? Lost my markers. I can kind of tell where it's at. There it is. Okay, so this is my astronaut cat. So for Spacetember, this is the main thing I colored for Spacetember. I spent a long time on this page. This is completely, other than a little bit of white gel pen, this is completely Prismacolor. I did use a reference looking at a photo for a cat's face and looking up planets, but pretty much made up my own planets. And I do like how the reflections came out. I attempted to do kind of an iridescent, like a rainbow iridescent, like the lavender iridescent fabric for this jacket, but not sure how successful that is. I'm going to try that on something else. Try some different techniques for that. But I do really like it. I love the kitty. This looks like my kitty cat Sunshine that I used to have a long time ago. All right, happy Spacetember. Okay, that's Dreamweaver. And then Fairy Tales and Folklore. So I've started a few in the beginning of this. I did finish this one. And then I am not quite finished with this one. Not quite finished with this one. And then not quite finished with these two. So I like to start pages. I don't count whips. It's just, they're continually ongoing. I did this right in between August and September. 8/25. August. Yeah, this was August. And I did use this one in the beginning of that video about coloring pastel faces. And this is the first pastel face that I have done. I did base a lot of this with pastel and then did Prismacolor on top. A little bit of metallic paint pen. A little bit of white gel pen. So, and then I have a fall one. So this was also kind of an impromptu one. I was feeling like coloring in. Sometimes late at night, if I'm watching a TV show or something, I will get a dark pencil and start coloring in a background. So that is what happened here. And the palette kind of evolved from there. I wanted a purple fall palette. I tend to use a purple fall palette a lot with my wardrobe. Basically, like my boots are maroon colored and I have a tote bag maroon colored. Various winter coats and jackets that are purples. So familiar palette for me for fall. Just a little bit of sparkle just to try to make it a little bit special, like the dress and the stars. A little bit on the mushrooms. But I really like that palette for fall and not a drop of orange. So, but there's a lot to color in this book that I really want to color. So I'm going to keep going. And I do have a buddy color coming up in this book, so I will show that in my plans. So then I have Fragile World. Now this isn't technically a buddy color, but I've been following along with Sarah from Ink and Hue. She started with the butterfly page, which is what got me to buy the book. I saw her butterfly page and I was like, oh, what book is that? So I did get the book for that, and I had a little bit of, I had some water happen on the corner of the book, and so it transferred there. So I need to seal that and try to erase that. But that's what started me with wanting to buy the book. And then she decided she wanted to do a whole book color along. So, so I've been working on these, which I think I have shown a little bit. And then, kitty cat. So I'm trying to keep up with where we would be if we were doing one page a month. So this is a snow leopard. So I'm trying to do an aurora borealis. I don't know that I'm happy with that yet. And I'm also contemplating putting a little bit of the reflection of these colors in anything that's white down here. So like top surfaces of the snow leopard, the snow, the mountains, but I don't want to get carried away either. And I'm thinking that it might all blend together too much if there's too much color everywhere. So then which things do I put color and how much color? So I don't know. So it could be finished. Yeah, I gotta think about that. I may come back to it. So next, probably, hopefully, do that bat next. Okay. And then, let's see. Okay, well, we've already talked about that one. That's my buddy color that I don't want to talk about yet. And then we have Witch's Cottage. So I'm not even sure which ones have been finished since I last showed you this book. I'm hoping to fill up this entire book. So many of these are in progress. This is the first time I've used the pastels in a book. And then I tried it here. And then I have 2 more colors. These are pan pastel, which they are more pigmented. So it didn't blend as quickly as I wanted it to. But as you can see, there's still quite a few pages left, but I'm working my way through the book. This is a current work in progress with a buddy, with Deb. My kitty Dusty. The floor is not finished. Just started, felt like coloring. These are not finished. That's ink tents and or museums. Not finished. Felt like coloring one night, so I colored. And then I think the rest is, oh, started this one too. Yeah. So I've started a few that I was drawn to. I want to do watercolor on that. Background's not finished on that. These aren't finished either. So anyway, I just continually keep working on these, and that is a project book for me. Perhaps next October I can do a whole book flip through for that. So that is all I have colored. I'm finally caught up with like August and September. So now I can work on October. I have started a couple, but I'm not going to show them to you. I'll put them in my October haul. And I hope you're finding lots of fun things to color. And I will talk to you in the next video. Happy coloring. Have a great weekend.